When you hear LVMH, what comes to mind? Seriously. Is it this sprawling, maybe unwieldy empire teetering? Or is it something else entirely? Something deeper?
That's really the core question we're digging into today, isn't it?
Absolutely. We're diving into the world of luxury giant LVMH, looking at two really starkly contrasting views you've shared.
Yeah, on one side, you've got this recent take from Bloomberg.
Right, and it paints a picture that, frankly, sounds like a business, well, in crisis.
But then, and this is where it gets really interesting,
Uh-huh.
we have this compelling counterargument from Marc Abergel. He's a well-known luxury expert based in Paris.
And he completely flips that narrative.
Completely. Turns it right on its head.
Okay, so our mission today, unpack these sources, figure out why Bloomberg saw, what was it, a rag bag and a slow collapse,
Those are their terms.
and then explore how Abergel reveals this.
Yeah.
Meticulously curated cultural nation,
Yeah.
a force without equal.
Exactly. It's a totally different way of seeing LVMH.
Get ready for some major insights, because what you think you know about LVMH, well, it might just get transformed.
So let's lay out that Bloomberg narrative first. This was from June 2025.
Cool.
They were pretty blunt. Described LVMH as a sprawling 85 billion empire
Wow.
and claimed its executive, Bernard Arnault, 76 years old at the time, was under pressure.
Right, the pressure narrative.
Their language was striking. Wobbling empire clinging to past prestige, even called it a rag bag and a hodgepodge mix.
A rag bag. For brands like Dior, Louis Vuitton, that's quite a statement.
It is. And they basically declared a slow collapse, pointed to this thing called a conglomerate discount.
Explain that quickly.
Sure. It's basically when a big company with lots of different parts is valued less than if you added up all those parts separately. Investors sort of struggle to see the synergy, or maybe they worry it's too complex.
Got it. So too big, too messy, less valuable as a whole.
That was Bloomberg's angle, and they also said the governance was in flux, hinting at instability at the top.
And to really drive home this wobbling empire idea, they focused heavily on that Loro Piana situation, didn't they?
They did. That was key evidence for them. The brand being placed under court administration, allegations about subcontractors, worker exploitation.
A serious issue, no doubt.
Absolutely. But Bloomberg presented it almost as, like, the final nail in the coffin, proof of collapse, an obituary, almost, for Arnault's leadership style.
Okay, so that's the setup. Crisis, collapse, flux.
And right there, Marc Abergel steps in. Pow. He says that view is a fundamental misreading of what LVMH is and what it was built to be.
A fundamental misreading. Strong words.
Very. Abergel insists LVMH was never meant to be a typical conglomerate just chasing economies of scale.
So what was it meant to be then?
He sees it as a carefully curated federation of cultural institutions built with ruthless selectivity and a really long-term vision, not just slapping brands together.
Okay, but the Loro Piana scandal,
Yeah.
that's a real problem, right?
Hmm.
How does Abergel deal with that? Does he just brush it off?
Not at all. No. He's much more nuanced. He acknowledges it's a genuine crack.
Crack, okay.
Not just in the supply chain, he says, but in the kind of ethical authority that luxury needs. He calls it a cultural warning.
A cultural warning, meaning?
Meaning that when your scale gets ahead of your stewardship, or, as he puts it, scale without vigilance, well, that can erode the very values that make these brands desirable in the first place.
So it is serious. A wake-up call.
Definitely serious. A wake-up call? Yes. But crucially, he argues it doesn't mean the whole system is broken.
Ah, okay. So it's a challenge, not a collapse.
Exactly. For Abergel, treating this as proof of collapse just misses the point of how LVMH operates. He believes it's driven by profound conviction, not just growth.
So this moment, Loro Piana, it's an opportunity.
That's how he frames it. It doesn't indict the model, it challenges it to refocus. It's a chance to return to clarity of values, precision of narrative, and sovereign control.
Sovereign control. Interesting phrase.
It is, basically doubling down on the core principles that made LVMH powerful to begin with.
Okay, this is where Abergel really starts dismantling that Bloomberg view, right?
Yeah.
Reframing LVMH entirely.
Absolutely. He says what Bloomberg calls bloat. Those in luxury recognize as orchestration.
Orchestration, not chaos, but
Choreography, that's his word. It looks sprawling, but it's meticulously planned.
that's a big claim. How does he back that up? How is it not just unwieldy?
Well, it starts with how you see Bernard Arnault himself. Abergel says Arnault didn't build an empire of assets. He composed a worldview, one Maison at a time.
Maison.
Yeah.
The French term for a luxury house, right? Like Fendi, Dior.
Exactly. Each a distinct cultural entity. And Arnault's role, Abergel insists, isn't just CEO, he's the custodian.
Custodian, like a guardian of culture.
Precisely. The editor-in-chief of culture, you could say.
Which is fascinating. Didn't Bloomberg kind of mock Arnault for tweaking the elevator music at the AGM?
They did. They presented it as this out-of-touch billionaire fussing over tiny details.
Seemed trivial, maybe.
To them, maybe. But Abergel flips it completely. He says that's the mark of a perfectionist orchestrating every detail.
Like Steve Jobs, maybe. That kind of obsessive focus.
He makes that exact comparison. In luxury, Abergel argues everything speaks. Every little detail shapes the narrative.
So the music between floors.
It isn't trivial. It's a subtle conductor of a Maison story. If you don't control it, something else fills the void, and you lose control of that cultural message. It's about total narrative control.
Wow. Okay. That makes a strange kind of sense. It links back to Arnault's philosophy too, doesn't it? Something about quality over revenue.
Yes. Arnault famously said, "We must stop thinking in terms of revenue. We must think in terms of quality."
And Abergel echoes that.
Strongly. He emphasizes a Maison's true value is its meaning, not its margins. This idea of cultural sovereignty, it's not just PR fluff for LVMH. It's baked into their design.
Which brings us back to that ragbag comment from Bloomberg about Sephora, Fendi, Tiffany, Loro Piana.
Right. Abergel fiercely challenges that. He calls them the most influential cultural powerhouses on the planet.
Powerhouse is not a ragbag. Why? What's the difference in his view?
Because, he says, each brand reshaped its category, not in spite of LVMH's structure, but because of its philosophy.
Which is?
Autonomy with orchestration, heritage with velocity. Basically, letting each brand be itself, but guiding the overall direction and injecting energy.
Okay, let's make that concrete. Give us some examples of this elevation Abergel talks about. Tiffany & Co., for instance. Bloomberg might see it as just another acquisition.
Right. But under LVMH, look what happened. Abergel points out it went from, let's be honest, a bit stagnant.
Yeah, maybe a bit dusty.
To a global magnet of pop culture. Think about their Met Gala presence now, the new prizes, how Alexandre Arnault repositioned it. It went from just heritage to, well, modern relevance.
As Abergel says, that's not failing, that's firepower.
Exactly, giving an old name new cultural buzz.
What about Fendi? Deep Italian roots there.
Fendi, he argues, has totally reasserted itself. It's now the definition of Roman modernity, refined, playful, and provocatively grounded in its architectural roots, keeping its soul but making it feel fresh.
And Sephora. That feels different from high fashion. How does that fit the orchestration?
Sephora is a brilliant example of their strategic range. It went from a French niche player to a global beauty sovereign, right? Over 2,700 stores.
Huge.
That wasn't luck. Abergel says it was driven by a deep cultural understanding of community, experimentation, and access. Remember the buzz when they opened their first London store in 2023? It was a cultural moment.
True. And Loro Piana, the brand Bloomberg used as proof of collapse. Abergel must have a counter for that.
Oh, he does. He points out that Loro Piana, once maybe just the whisper of the elite, is now the absolute benchmark of quiet luxury.
It's everywhere now, that term.
Exactly. It's being name-dropped in rap lyrics, and its revenue reportedly tripled under LVMH.
Tripled. Despite the scandal.
That's the claim. Abergel calls it a masterclass in letting the product do the talking and Arnault the listening. The scandal is serious, needs addressing, but it hasn't wiped out its cultural impact.
And there are others too, right? Rimowa luggage becoming this symbol for creatives.
Yes, Rimowa as the symbol of creative nomadism, Cheval Blanc hotels as sanctuaries of sensory narrative.
And the Fondation Louis Vuitton in Paris.
A global reference point for art now. So, yeah, Abergel's point is crystal clear.
None of this is chaos, it's choreography.
That's his line. What Bloomberg misreads as control, he says, is conviction. What they call sprawl is actually cultural sovereignty. Arnault built a constellation, not just a conglomerate.
So if the real advantage, the moat, as they say in business, isn't just stores or prime real estate, what is it, according to Abergel?
It's simple and profound. Narrative control.
Narrative control.
Yeah. He says in a world where big tech owns attention, LVMH owns culture and intention. They shape taste, they defend heritage, they rewrite aspiration. That's cultural sovereignty. A powerful, almost invisible edge.
Okay, let's shift gears to the other big clash. Succession. Bloomberg paints this picture of, boardroom drama, Shakespearean stuff, lots of offspring fighting, like that TV show, succession.
Right, the Logan Roy-style succession narrative.
Abergel must push back hard on that.
Oh, completely. He couldn't be clearer. This isn't a succession crisis, he states flatly. It's a masterclass in generational design.
Generational design, not crisis.
He sees it as deliberate formation, not dysfunction or flux. The five Arnault children, they're not jostling for a crown, in his view.
They're cropped.
Stewarding a constellation. Each one has a portfolio, a specific role, designed to strengthen LVMH's cultural core, its strategic placement.
Okay, break that down. Delphine Arnault at Dior. What's her role in this formation?
Delphine at Dior, Abergel argues, is overseeing a massive cultural recalibration. Bringing in Jonathan Anderson wasn't just a design choice, it was strategic.
And Anderson's first show. Big impact.
Huge. Reportedly shattered records, over 1 billion views online. For Abergel, that shows Delphine trusts bold talent, believes in generational shifts. It signals Dior's future is about authorship, not just repeating the past.
Then Alexandre Arnault, Tiffany, Rimowa, now moving into the spirit side with Moet Hennessy Private. What's his particular skill?
Abergel says Alexandre doesn't inherit brands, he reprograms them.
Reprograms them?
Yeah, turns static legacy into cultural currency. Look at Tiffany. He moved it from feeling maybe a bit formal to being right there, front row relevant, claiming events like the Met Gala, his presence at these big cultural moments, not accidental, says Abergel. He gets modern influence.
And Antoine Arnault, his role seems less defined maybe, more behind the scenes.
But incredibly influential. Abergel calls him the de facto chief cultural officer. His focus is communications, partnerships, philanthropy.
Like the Olympics partnership, LVMH in Paris 2024.
Exactly. Abergel described that as cultural diplomacy in silk. It even won LVMH a big award at the Cannes Lions Festival in 2025. Antoine is the quiet strategist behind LVMH's soft power. He shapes how the group interacts with the wider cultural world.
Okay, then Frédéric Arnault, he's got Loro Piana and Tag Heuer watches.
Right. At Loro Piana, his job is clearly focused on restoring the Maison's moral authority after the scandal directly tackling that Bloomberg critique.
In Tag Heuer.
Big move there. He positioned Tag Heuer as Formula One's official timekeeper with a massive 10-year deal.
Wow, F1. Huge audience.
500 million fans globally. It massively amplifies Tag Heuer's heritage in precision timing. A very strategic play, praised even by F1 CEO.
And the youngest, Jean Arnault.
Jean is focused on elevating Louis Vuitton's watchmaking, turning it from maybe a fashion accessory into a serious horological powerhouse.
Horological, high-end watchmaking.
Exactly, building that deep craft credibility. It's a long-term move, forging another layer of Louis Vuitton's cultural legacy.
So when you lay it out like that, it's far from governance in flux. It looks intentional.
That's precisely Abergel's point. These aren't vanity roles. It's succession built on strategic anchors. Each sibling is placed to strengthen that cultural core. It's deliberate formation, adapting the machine for a new era, not just holding on to the past. Arnault himself said at the 2025 AGM, we must see the market as it is today. It's no longer the same.
That shows an awareness of change, right? Adaptive realism, not just nostalgia.
It really does. Abergel stresses that the rules have changed. Taste cycles spin faster. Attention is algorithmic. But somehow the family, through things like that F1 deal, the Olympics, the Dior shakeup, has kept LVMH feeling human, sovereign, and deeply anchored in meaning.
Because the strength isn't just quarterly profits.
No. Abergel insists it's rooted in that cultural currency, which compounds over time. It's about building value that lasts.
So let's wrap this up. What does this all mean for you, our listener? We've seen Marc Abergel, that luxury expert from Paris, just completely redefine LVMH. He takes Bloomberg's conglomerate discount idea
and transforms it into the reality of a cultural nation, a sovereign system of taste, memory, and intent.
It's a powerful reframing.
It really is. Abergel points out, when a family like the Arnauds meets monthly to talk culture, not just profit margins, when strategy happens during store visits, not just in PowerPoint decks.
You're not seeing a crisis.
No. You're watching, as he puts it, a republic of culture. It's a testament to deep knowledge, that French idea of savoir-faire and desire, preparing its next carefully orchestrated move.
Which leaves us with a really important question for you to think about. If LVMH's real strength is this cultural currency that grows over time, if its focus is on savoir-faire more than short-term gains.
Then Abergel asks provocatively, if markets are struggling to price this model, maybe the problem isn't the model.
Maybe the markets just haven't caught up.
Perhaps, dare I say, the markets haven't yet figured out how to price cultural and emotional ROI.
It's a really compelling thought, isn't it? In a world where so many brands feel temporary, LVMH aims to be, what's the word?
Intemporel,
Yeah.
timeless.